Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Ipswich Town rebuild, episode 3, season 3. Let's get this season underway. So, with some back and forwards with the board, Sami Smojic is not going to be sold this summer window by the looks of things. They're just not willing to accept any offers that sort of come in for him. They're looking for the price range of his actual player value. As you can see, the value is down at 6.5 million at the moment, but it was around 20 million pounds. So as you can see, between 20 and 22 million pound. So the board is really hoping for that. He does look really good, but he just doesn't perform as well as he actually looks on paper. So we'll see how this one develops over the rest of the transfer window. So we've accepted a loan bid from Sheffield United for Muric. Hopefully he can go out and get some first team football for Sheffield himself there, and that can help raise his player value and we can sell him on for a better profit next season. After a very failed time at Ipswich Town, we're going to see Ranieri leave, potentially go to Osasuna. We're going to cash in on him. We're going to on a free transfer, but hopefully we can get a little bit of cash in for him and pay a little bit of his wages just to let him go, as he's not going to feature for us next season. After having a look at Bojan, he looks a really good striker to potentially replace a striker that we're looking to offload this window. The only thing that's put me off is that 29 years of age range that he's currently under. Obviously, the board want us to get young players in, so we'll have to see if we're going to go for him or someone a bit younger. So little young Matthias has came up there, as you can see, playing in the Brazilian league. Very cheap as well, very young, so it could be another one we look to make a move on sooner rather than later. As you can see, Crystal Palace are sniffing around him. With having a really failed season and struggling to get in the first team against Ben Johnson, we've went and sold the Torino right back we went and signed for 6.5 million last year. He'll be leaving the club for a total of 3.5 million to head to Sevilla. So we decided to go in and activate Matthias's release clause after having a really good look at this striker. He does look like to be the next big thing in our team. So hopefully he can develop really well and we can get this bid over the line before Crystal Palace decide to activate this as well. Getting over the line there, Muric is now leaving to join Sheffield United on a loan until the end of the season. Ranieri leaves to go to Osasuna in Spain. Obviously didn't really develop quite well for us and didn't get very many games last season. We've got a total of 7.25 million coming in for him, which is a fantastic little profit after we got him on a free transfer just a season ago. The big one we've decided to cash in on this year is Andre Silva. After having an absolute fantastic season for us last year, getting 16 goals in 28 games, we just thought it was right for the kind of money that we've been offered from elsewhere. We're going to take that and cash in on him right now. Seeing Kyle Walker-Peters with a release clause in his contract after Southampton getting relegated meant that we could only spend 18 million on him, which was an absolutely fantastic steal at that price. With Saudi Arabian clubs sniffing around our goalkeeper Santiago after we just loaned out Muric means that we have to negotiate as he will become very unsettled, but hopefully we can get a fantastic deal on the table for him before we allow him to go. After the sale of Andre Silva, Matthias has accepted his contract, turning down Crystal Palace to come to us. It's fantastic signing for Ipswich Town. So, after the start of the season, we've had a fantastic start to this league campaign in the third season. As you can see, first game of the season, we went and beat Chelsea 3-0 at home. Delap and Hutchinson really taking the edge off that game. We then went up against Newcastle and beat them 2-0 as well. Seeing the first goal scored by Matthias as well, which is really nice to see. And then we went to Leicester, who were really struggling at the start of the season, and we drew 1-1 with them, which was crazy to even see, if I'm totally honest. Transfer-wise, by the time we got to the end of the transfer window, we spent £110 million. As you can see, Director of Football is still doing what he needs to do, bringing in some really mediocre players. But we'll start from the players we've signed. We've signed Perez, the centre-back from Udinese. He's came in for £19.5 million just to give us some extra strength. We brought in this young midfielder, Ukrainian young lad from Shakhtar. We paid £19.5 million for him. Worst part is, we signed him, he got injured, and he was wrote off for 3 to 4 weeks. So he hasn't managed to feature yet, but really exciting player for the future. Kyle Walker-Peters, 18 million was spent for him on his activation for his release clause for when they got relegated themselves there, Southampton. So yes, Kyle Walker-Peters came in for 18 million. Really nice transfer fee for him. Matthias, who we've already showed you, we brought him in at the start of this window, £16.25 million. We brought him from the Brazilian league. So hopefully we'll see him get featured a bit more this year. A young sort of centre back that we brought in from France. from Senegal he is. So 30 million were paid for him. Didn't really do absolutely fantastic in the French League One, but is coming to Ipswich Town to hopefully develop his career a little bit further. So 13 million pound, and as you can see, the stats don't lie. He looks incredible. The next one, you brought in a goalkeeper from Sampdoria. £12.5 million. He's came in and he's started shining already. The only thing that lets him down a little bit is that first touch, but overall, this keeper looks really well rounded for this Ipswich side. We've also brought in a keeper that was loaned back to Rapid. Held. We brought him in for £11 million, I believe it was, that we spent on him. Yeah, so £11 million we're loaning him back out to Rapid there as well, so he can get some first team football, and then he should come back to us in a year's time. As you can see, Director Football's been at work bringing in some youngsters as well. Really started paying some money towards youngsters because he was just getting free transfers, but now he's putting a little bit of money towards the little youngsters as well. We obviously went to the free transfer market as well and brought in Gabriel Vega, the one that I did want. Sadly, did turn us down instead. We're not going to mention his name because it really upset us. We tried back and forwards to try and get him, and in the end, he moved somewhere else. So I'm upset to not get him because he was my first choice, but Gabriel Vega is a solid choice overall, as you can see by his stats. Really well-rounded player, and he's only on 75 grand a week compared to that amount of money he was paid when he was in Saudi Arabia, which was like 350k a week. Players going out. So we've seen Andre Silva. He went to Brentford, cashed in on him for 25 million. Saudi Arabian club Al Ahly, they've spent 20 million on Mela to let him go. I mean, we only spent 1.2 million on him, so getting 20 million for him is absolutely fantastic. He was a fantastic keeper for us last year, so the Italian lad we've brought in has got some really big boots to fill. But as you can see, he's getting paid 500k a week to go to Saudi Arabia now, so obviously he didn't want to stay at us and being paid 25k a week instead of the 500k he's been offered elsewhere. Cameron Humphreys, a young lad that we had at the club for a while, couple of loans elsewhere. We decided to sell him off because I just don't see him bursting into the first team anytime soon. So it was a no-brainer. I let him go. Ranieri, we let him go to Osasuna as well, £6.5 million after obviously not featuring very well for us. Sold this right back that we brought in last year from Torino. Obviously took a £3 million loss on him, but he just didn't really feature. Stats don't lie. Anyone massively else that we can see going out? There's no one really that I should say that's meant other than Muric. So he's went on loan to Sheffield United. We'll see him go there for the season. Hopefully, as you can see, he's played every single game with Sheffield so far in the Championship. So hopefully he can really hit that ground running in the Championship and then come back to us and we can sell him for a bit of profit because I don't think he's going to feature again. Players obviously were bought last year. They're going back out on loan again. Tobias being one of those. He had a relatively successful loan at Stockport County in the Championship, playing all the games for them, and now he's playing for Luton in the Championship as well. So a little bit of a step up for the team that he's playing for now. Darren O'Shea, a player that came bust because he wasn't getting enough game time. We've loaned him out to Brighton. And the last but not least one, sorry, we have, where's he gone? So we loaned out our other right back that we brought in as well. Nope, that's not him. I don't know where he's gone. Basically, we brought another right back in last year. He's away out on loan as well again this year. George Hurst, we tried to get him out on a permanent transfer. No one was interested, so he's been loaned out to Southampton. Pretty much a no-brainer to let George Hurst go out on loan because he's literally just going to sit there and do nothing. Only issue with him, he's only got 1 year left on that contract, so it'll be a shame come the end of the season because he will just leave on a free transfer. But yes, we finished really well in the transfer window. Results don't lie. We've had a fantastic start of the Premier League season, and even pre-season, we had a fantastic pre-season. Tactic-wise, we've stayed the same as we did last year and the year before. I think it's just best to stick with a one tactic and really build into this tactic itself now. So as you can see, we've got the likes of Delap who's starting to play on the right-hand side for some reason now. I'd rather he played at the sort of striker position, and then he has sort of a rotation with Matthias. But for some reason, it just doesn't seem to do that in the engine. So obviously Matthias and Delap would be a nice little rotation to see happen. But we're just not seeing that happen at all. but hopefully we'll see it develop over this course of the season. We've got some really good squad depth as well when it comes to this the sort of defensive department. CDMs, we really wanted to get one more CDM in on a free transfer. I've tried and tried and tried. The only issue is his wages. As you can tell, ex-Saudi Arabian Pro League player. I'll show you who it is. Ruben Diaz. So Ruben Diaz is a player we're tempted to try and get. I think he'd be fantastic to bring in. Obviously, perfect at that CDM spot. The only problem is his wages. Every time I go in for him, his wages, he starts at 85k and then he wants 350k. So we'll see if we can get him again after the summer transfer. Well, after the summer transfer window's finished, but we'll see if we can get him again shortly when his wages come down. Because obviously, if you normally wait a few days in Football Manager, the wages tend to come down a little bit. So we'll see if we can get Ruben Diaz. I mean Ruben Neves in. I don't know why I'm calling him Ruben Diaz. Ruben Neves. If we can get Ruben Neves in, that'd be fantastic, and it brings more squad depth to that CDM position as well, and helps us out in that department. Obviously, Calvin Phillips still sticking around here. Hojberg, I did try and move him on this summer transfer window, I'm not going to lie. I did try and cash in on him because he's 31 now and he's really got a high value there, so it would have been nice to get some of that money back. But he's went and got an injury at the start of the season. He's going to be out for 2 weeks. The biggest one that we've got sort of a weak area in is wingers. Yes, we've got the likes of Jack Clark, Liam Delap, and Hutchinson that's sort of playing there. But I would like probably more strength in there come next season. I don't think we're going to get anything this season because we spent a lot of money and we spent a lot of the budget. So a bit of a shame on that front. Next season will be massive for that right winger spot. Really want some sort of world class right winger in there to lift us to the next level in this Premier League. But as you can see, start of the Premier League, we've started off really, really well. Top of the league, 7 points. Manchester City's just behind us, obviously. They drew against Brighton. They also beat Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest. We beat Chelsea, Newcastle, and drew against Leicester. We should have had 3 wins up on that board, but unfortunately, we managed to draw to Leicester. I don't get how, but we did. Anyway, that's the start of the window and how it's got on. Fingers crossed we can continue to be really consistent over the season and potentially be in the top end of the table again. So we also qualified for Europa League. We've got some really good sort of fixtures as well. I wouldn't say there's a really hard game in there. There's some challenging ones, so the likes of Besiktas, the likes of AZ, the likes of Wolfsburg, but there's some really good games in there where I think we could get some solid points on the board. Napoli being the hardest game that we've got out of them all. I really can't see us qualifying for the next, so for the knockout stages of the Europa League, just based on the teams that we've got. The third round of the EFL Cup, we managed to get Manchester United, who were playing back to back, which will be fun. But yes, let's simulate until the end of the season and see how we get on with this Ipswich Town. Don't forget, if you are enjoying this video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Let's get the end of the season. Right, and what a long season it's been. We've managed to finish in 6th place with Crystal Palace just finishing a point above us. Very, very strange season, if I do say so myself. We started off fantastically in this league. So, if we look at the fixtures, as you can see, from the point of where we left you, we drew against Leicester, got beat off West Ham, went and beat Besiktas 1-0, beat Everton 1-0, and then just went on a losing streak against Man United. Lost 2 games back to back, beat Hibs, beat Bournemouth, beat Aston Villa, beat some team in the European League, lost against Arsenal 1-0, drew 1-1 with Wolves, and then it was sort of, once again, the mid part of the season, we had a horrendous December. An absolutely horrendous December. 1 win, and it was in the Europa League in the whole of December. That really damaged our league positioning. And then pulled it back around again in January. A lot of different wins there. Losing against Manchester City in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. Crazy to get Manchester City in the 3rd round of the FA Cup, but oh well, we did it. And then lost against Everton, and then went on a little bit more of a streak again, beating other teams. Played Wolves, won 2-0, lost against Midtjylland, and then beat them again. Drew against Villarreal, won against Villarreal and drew against Villarreal. We drew against Newcastle in the semi-finals and then beat them in the semi-finals. We then went on to the final of the Europa League where we won 3-2 at home against Napoli. That is massive. We are European champions. So we managed to win the Champions League, I mean not the Champions League, the Europa League with Ipswich. Gabriel Vega being the clinical player in that match against Napoli. And what a game that was. I mean, look at it. Napoli got two back, and that was in the 93rd and the 96th minute. And then we went on to lose against Brentford 1-0 at home. But we must say, overall, the season in the Premier League for our first year in Europe wasn't the best in the Premier League, but in Europe we did fantastic. Bumpy season, but fantastic from this Ipswich side. Obviously, last game of the season, seen us drop down to sixth. We could have had a fifth place finish, which is a bit of a shame. But we move from there, and hopefully we can build on this in the next season. But as you can see, big movements in the Premier League. Newcastle finishing 10th, Tottenham finishing 11th, Chelsea finishing 14th. That is insane. That is massive movements from the Premier League. I mean, look at who finished in the top part of the league. So you got Arsenal who won the league. They actually ran away with the league, to say the least. Liverpool in second, Man City, Man United, then Crystal Palace, then us, then Aston Villa. I mean, the Premier League was crazy this year. A lot of teams switching off. I mean, Chelsea down in 14th is just absolutely crazy. So yeah, it's incredible to see Chelsea down in 14th. Next season though, the board have backed us massively, £105 million in the transfer budget. That's insane. I cannot believe that we've came out with 105 million and being backed that heavily for next season. So just looking at the team now and see how we got on in regards to players that played for us this year. Anthony Robertson, playing absolutely fantastic, as you can see. He's now part of the USA, so yeah, he's now a USA sort of nationality. He played absolutely outstanding, as you can see this year. He's had two back-to-back seasons with us where he's played fantastically. He's currently wanted by Leeds. Highly doubt he's going to go to Leeds. The young centre back that we brought in from the French league, he played okay, we should say so. Hojberg, once again, having another solid season as well, playing every single game pretty much. Other than, well, he missed out on 4 games, should we say. So he did have a good season. Average rating wasn't fantastic though. Held's come back now from his loan. He played okay at Rapid. He's now come back to Ipswich, so we've got him to utilise for next season. Matthias played, obviously, the striker we bought in, 34 games and 14 goals this year. Not amazing, but it's a good start coming into the Premier League and getting used of the style of football. Ben Johnson, not playing as many games as he did last year. Currently wanted by Leeds as well. Leeds suddenly want nearly every single one of our players, but okay. Perez played really well since he came in as well, which is nice to see. The young Ukrainian, unfortunately, played only 15 games. It's a bit of a shame because I know this guy can develop really well. But yeah, 19.5 million were paid for him. Not really developed as much as I would like to see him develop, so we might lock him in next year. Gabriel Vega, obviously the key player that came in on a free transfer, as you can see, he played the majority of the games and had a fantastic season. The only thing I would like to have seen a bit more from Vega is the assists. 3 assists from a midfield player. It's really, really rough. So yeah, we could probably do with seeing some more assists from Vega. The new goalkeeper that we brought in as well, he had a phenomenal season, so it's nice to see that. Davis, he's starting to dwindle out the first team a little bit, as you can see, only 14 games for this year, and I'm guessing he's not very happy with the game time he's getting, which is correct. But look at that, his stats are fantastic, so we'll have to see about him as well next year. Calvin Phillips, 34 games. He's been vital since he came in for a free transfer, and he's played so good since he's came back to the club. Even when he was on loan, he was fantastic as well. Harry Clark, he played every single game pretty much this year. He wants a new deal, and he's wanted by Leeds. Once again, Leeds all over our players. Jack Clark is the biggest one. How many games did Jack Clark play this year? 32, so a bit more than last year. Nice to see him getting back into the frame of things. 7 goals, 5 assists. Once again, though, very poor with the goals to assist ratio. Okay, so Sammy, how did you get on? Sammy played 29 games, didn't really do anything. Once again, though, 5 goals, 1 assist from Sammy. Really going to be a player I'm going to probably look to move on in the summer. Then we've got Amari Hutchinson. He did 35 games, 7 goals, 8 assists. Once again, though, the assists are really poor from these players that are playing behind the striker. We'd like to see either more goals or more assists. But once again, solid season from him, if I do say so myself. Um, Blasic, he's played 10 games this year, not as anywhere near as many as he did the season before. And then Liam Delap, obviously our key player this year. Really, I don't know what happened. 6 goals, 4 assists for our striker. This, I think, might be the key part of where we've gone wrong. I think Delap, he's a good player. Like, even if you look at his stats, he's a fantastic player. Stats and everything just show you that he's a really good player. I think it's the decisions that really are going to be letting him down in that final third. Because, I mean, 6 goals in 30 games is abysmal from your number 9. It's one of those ones. If Saudi Arabian club comes in for him, I mean, he's only 24. Do we look to cash in the summer? I don't know. Is the answer. I really do not know. Kyle Walker-Peters, who were brought in, played 34 games, 2 assists from right back. Once again, Leeds interested in him. But yeah, as you can see, overall, what a really good season for our first year in Europe. Obviously, becoming a champions of Europe, which is absolutely fantastic to see. So really hit the ball out the park there. Next season, obviously being back to that £105 million means that we can look to get someone massive. And I mean massive in regards to a goal scorer, for instance. I think every other department, maybe centre attacker midfielder, maybe that shadow striker role, we're probably going to have to look for someone new there. I think these two roles here, so if I literally pick the best 11, let's just go here. Best 11. So this is what the best 11 looks like. So they'll put Delap on the right, Hutchinson there, and then Matthias there, Vega, Phillips, Hojberg, Walker, Peters, the 2 centre backs, Robertson, and then obviously the goalkeeper. I honestly think if we take these 2 out, or at least 3 out, I think that's going to be our main area of focus in the summer. I think so. I think we need a centre attacking midfielder that's going to be fantastic in that shadow striker role. We really need a solid winger, and we just need an out-and-out goal scorer. Well, we'll see what happens in the summer, won't we? Well, that's going to be it for today's episode. Don't forget, if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. Let us know what you think in the comments down below of the series so far. And don't forget, leave a like on the video as always. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.